Okay. I'm actually really, really excited to talk about this topic because so many people have asked me what I'm doing. And I think what I'm hoping to do is walk you through how I just fell into doing so many videos and how it literally changed my practice, it changed my life. Like, we have had in the last couple of years a couple of associates that have come in, and I'm like, I want to show you the secret sauce. And I don't know if they're fresh out of school and they're like, no, we don't market like that. And I'm like, no. I want to show you what I did to build 55,000 subscribers on my YouTube. Like, I want you to watch me and see how I do that. And they're like, no. So I've never put this information together like this before. So I am so hoping that those of you that want to take it and run with it, that you do. Because everything I'm going to show you, I pay literally no money for. I don't know how to do Facebook ads. I don't even know YouTube ads. I don't know any of that. All I know is that I have a burning passion to educate people, and I have this. I have a phone. And I've mixed those two things together to build this incredible online presence. So I'm just excited to show you all of that. So I hope some of you take this and run with it. Let me start off with this. How many of you are currently have let's start with Facebook, a Facebook page? Okay, awesome. Okay, how many of you have a business Facebook page? Okay. How many of you have a Facebook group? Okay, good. Okay, how many of you have a YouTube page? Okay, awesome. How many of you, I'll talk a little bit about Instagram, but I'm just learning it. Actually, I wish Ben Azadi was here because he's kicking butt on Instagram. How many of you have an Instagram page? Okay, awesome. And of you guys that just raised your hand, how many of you would love for that to be your primary way that you drive new patients into your office? Okay, awesome. So I'm just trying to assess where the desire is. Okay, how many of you love marketing? One guy. You guys probably do, yeah. Okay, so I'm just curious why the rest of you don't love marketing. Anybody willing to share? You'd rather be with a client. And okay, and what is it with a client that like excites you? Awesome. I'm going to teach you how you can do that online. Okay, who else? You hate seeing yourself on video. Okay, awesome. I feel like we should take notes. Can you just take those two things down, Jessica, so I come circle back to them? Just remember them for me. Okay, cool. So let's start off with this. I want to kind of give you an idea of how I fell into this, because I think both of those points are really valid, and I want to show you how everything that I was searching for with new patients, I found online doing YouTube videos and Facebook Lives. I mean, everything, that one-on-one connection. Oh my God, I have so much satisfaction in watching my online community really take these principles and apply them to their life. So I get as much satisfaction now working with a patient online as I do going to my resetter group and watching people thrive in a 5-day water fast. So I think you'll find that with the video. You know, I'll give you some ideas on that because I hear that a lot. And this is where I love what Nicole did. This is where your why comes in, because my why for doing all of this is so much bigger than how my hair looks. And it's so much bigger than if I say the right things. I literally, like, if you go back and watch some of my videos on YouTube from like a year ago, watch my one I did with Shane yesterday. My hair is like just all disoriented. I mean, and I just want to get the word out, so I move beyond how I look. That's. Oh, oh. Well, again, I'm hoping that I inspired something inside of you to just want to pour your message out there. So, okay, let's go this. How many of you have ever been in your office and wished you had more new patients? Just let's be honest. Okay. So I went through, I've been in practice for 23 years. I've done so many different types of practice management and marketing strategies. This is not for a lack of not trying. I've screened, I've done killer ads, I've done corporate talks, I've done so many things. And I honestly, when I was first in practice, I thought here at 23 years, I would be standing in front of people saying, I'm the best practitioner in the world, and so everybody just comes to me. Right? I just thought you would become a good practitioner and people would show up. Now, I will tell you, in hanging out at Systemic for a while, some of you have mastered that, and my hat's off to you. But I was never really able to equate that just because I'm a great practitioner means that people will line up out my door. And so one day I was sitting at a seminar, and a guy got up and spoke who climbed Mount Everest. And he had climbed Mount Everest 3 times. And the first time, he just took a bunch of people that really wanted to climb. They went, they climbed it, came down. Second time, he took another group, and what he found is that I'm not a Mount Everest expert, but what he found is that it's very expensive to climb Mount Everest. And so if you have a passion for climbing Mount Everest, and you want to take a bunch of people to go climb it, you're going to need a whole lot of money. So he got up there, and he was speaking to a room of over 1,000 chiropractors. And he got up there and he said, I realized that to do what I want to do in my office, I was going to have to fall in love with marketing. I was going to have to fall in love with fundraising for this thing that I do that gives me so much joy. And it was like the first time that I really separated those two things out and realized, because I can go out and market and say it's because I want to serve people, but it took a little deeper level for me and made me realize if I love the one-on-one, Tammy, if I love that, if I love what I get to do in the healing realm, I'm going to have to find a way to love marketing because I got to connect these two things. So I had this going around in my head for some time. And then I had an experience where a patient of mine died of cancer. And this wasn't just any patient. This was a woman who walked into my office at 40 years old. She actually brought her daughter to me for allergies. And when she showed up in my waiting room, she was totally bald and had a scarf on. And I walked into the waiting room and I thought, oh, the patient must be her, but it was actually, she was there for her daughter. And so we got talking, and of course we addressed the daughter's health first, but come to find out that this woman, her name was Lanny, at 40 years old, walked into her OB's office, got a routine mammogram. Lanny was kicking butt in life. I'm in Silicon Valley. Lanny was living the Silicon Valley dream. Great job, great family, great friends, awesome house, like everything you would want. Walked into her OB's office and walked out, did a mammogram, walked out with a cancer diagnosis. They gave her 3 months to live. She didn't feel any symptoms at all. So here we are. She went through a mastectomy. She went through radiation, chemo, and boom, here we are 5 months later. She's sitting in my waiting room. And my mouth dropped, and I'd never heard of, at that point, this was so many years ago, I'd never really heard that somebody could have that severe of a cancer diagnosis and never feel a symptom. And so I turned to Lanny and I said, Lanny, what did they tell you about things you can be doing on your own? And oh my God, my nutrition knowledge back then was so much different than what I know now. But she said, well, what do you mean? They didn't give me any nutrition advice. And I said, well, reading labels, did they tell you that there's ingredients and labels that we know will build cancer? And she looked at me and she said, super smart woman, and she said, wait, are you telling me that if they put food in Safeway, it's not safe? And I said, yeah, that's what I'm telling you. So that conversation started this journey with Lanny, and Lanny actually ended up rearranging her whole lifestyle, getting rid of all of her products, changing her diet. But what I love so much about Lanny is that she was she would come into my office and she would say, Mindy, we have to go tell people about this. People don't know this. So Lanny and I were a routine. We went to elementary schools, we went to businesses, and we would stand up there as a duo, and she would tell her story, and I would fill it in with nutrition, what I knew in those days. And whenever I would hold a live talk, it would always be about 100 people in the room, and about 60 of them were Lanny's friends. She would pull people into my office to help people understand they need to do something different. At one point, she had 3 months to live. She turned it into 11 years. At 9 years, she was cancer-free, at 9 years. And then the cancer came back. And in fact, to this day, I always think like, Lanny, God, I know more. We would have known more, but we didn't back then. And so when Lanny's cancer came back and she was in hospice care for 4 months, I would go 3 times a week, and I would sit at her bedside. Sometimes I would adjust her. Sometimes I would just hold her hand. She was this beautiful, bright spirit up until about a week before she died. And her liver kept getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And I remember one time holding her hand, she kind of fell out of consciousness. And I just remember looking at her liver and thinking, like, our environment did this. Whatever is growing in that liver, like, there are other people out there that are building this. Our environment did this. And the day she died, ironically, was the first day I did my first official, like, large corporate talk. And I was walking out the door, and Lanny's mom called me and said she passed. And it was the line in the sand for me. I thought, no longer can I sit comfortably in my, 4,000 square foot home and my incredibly beautiful practice and keep my flippin' mouth shut. I can't. And so I went out that day, and those poor people that had to hear me talk that day were like, their mouths were open, and I told this at one of our seminars. I showed up, and I just sat there with tears in my eyes, and I said, how many of you have a plan to not get cancer? And everybody laughed. And I was like, it's not funny. I don't get it. That your lifestyle builds cancer. And people didn't know. So I got on a mission. My why became to stop all the Lannys in the world. And for 2 years, I went 1 to 2 times a week out to corporations, and I did the same thing every time. I stood up there and I said, how many of you have a plan to stop cancer? And everybody would laugh. There would always be one person in the room who did. And we literally built our practice like people. At that point, I didn't have the money value that Dr. Pompa has instilled in me. But I would just be like, you're coming in for free for that first visit. We're just going to check you, and we need to make sure you're not building cancer. And I did that for a year and a half, 1 to 2 corporate talks a week. And it was amazing, and I felt like I was making an impact, and it was incredible. And I felt like I could take the pain to purpose, like I could take the pain that I had about Lanny, and I could start to prevent all the Lannys in the world. So I had one major problem. After a year and a half, I was exhausted. I remember like going to a corporation and just being like, I can't believe I have to go. And then I had this thought in my head, like, if you don't find a different way, you're going to become Lanny now. And so I had to like reframe the way that I was approaching getting my mission out there. And so about that time, I had been on Facebook. Ironically, some of our best friends, the husband was number 31 at Facebook. And we used to go on like ski trips together all the time. And he said to me one day, this was well before this, he said to me, Mindy, my whole family comes in and sees you. We basically are clients of your business, and I notice you don't have a Facebook page. And I was like, okay, Paul, no problem. I'll get a Facebook page. I agreed, like, yes, you support my business. I'll support you. My husband and I would leave our interactions with him, and we'd be like, this Facebook thing, like, he really thinks it's going to take off. He's the one laughing now, as he has 4 homes and travels all over the world. But so I got on Facebook, and this is way back when, and I found all my high school friends and all my kindergarten friends. And anybody else do that? Like, where you got on Facebook and you're like, oh my God, this is what you're doing. Okay, so that's what I thought Facebook was. And I just was interacting in a friend moment. Well, I didn't know about a business page, really. I created a group, but I didn't know what I was doing. And then I've told this story before. Then I joined Dr. Pompa and his whole team. And David said to me, Mindy, why don't you go and do Facebook Lives? So why don't you try doing Facebook Lives? And honestly, at that point, I was doing Periscope. Does anybody know Periscope? Yeah, and that was kind of creepy and weird, and it would freak me out how you get on Periscope and people start talking to you, and I'm like, whoa, why are you talking to me? Like, I'm in my car and you're talking to me. So I love a good challenge, and David said, do one every day for 90 days. So I decided I'd do one every day for 90 days. I didn't know what I was doing. I did it from my personal page, and I would literally get on the phone, and every day for 90 days, I would just share some tip. And you know what happened? And this is if you are not doing Facebook Live or any Facebook Lives from your personal page, if you don't have a Facebook presence, I can't tell you enough how much this helped. All of my friends, and my Facebook friends, my personal acquaintances, came up to me in my personal life. Like I'd be at my daughter's, she did equestrian vaulting, I'd be at her event, or I'd be at my son's soccer event, and people were like, I didn't know you did what you know a lot about nutrition. I thought you were just a chiropractor. Or they'd be like, oh my God, I love what you said on this video. And all of a sudden, my personal world started pouring into my office in that first 90 days. And so I was like, this is really cool. David, this stuff works. And so I just started doing over and over and over again videos. I eventually went, and I'll show you again. I want to show you my funnel, and I want to help you create your funnel. So I just went from Facebook. I did a video there. I would put it on YouTube, and then about 6 months into understanding that process, somebody said you should create a call to action. I'm like, oh yeah, you mean I shouldn't just give this information away? Like I should actually do something with it? So my call to action, because I suck at selling. Like I'm not good at selling. I can't sell. If I don't believe in it, you're never going to see me sell it. Like I can't. The other thing I realized is that I can't lead with money. I have to lead with service and passion, and then I can monetize it behind that. So somebody said to me, why don't you, create a call to action? And I was like, oh, God, you mean say, hey, come to my office? I don't know if I could do that. So I drove everybody into my resetter group. And if you're not a part of my who's a resetter in here, just out of curiosity? Okay. If you're not a part of my resetter group, come join us. I will tell you that there are 3 questions for you to answer, and if you don't answer it, this is my group, and these are my peeps, and if you don't answer it, you are not allowed in, because like Lisa said, if you can't follow the instructions, you're not going to be a good employee. If you can't answer my questions, you're not going to be a great community member. So if you want to be a resetter, answer those questions, and we'll let you in. So I just started pouring everybody into my resetter group. I still didn't know what I was doing in there. I would post some articles. I would give some advice, but it just started growing. It was kind of fun. And then I told this story before. I met Simon Pompa, and he was 2 days into a water fast. And at the time, I had not done any water fasting. I had just started doing intermittent fasting. And I had all these limiting beliefs in my head, but thank God I don't need to do a water fast. I'm so healthy, I don't got to do it. I'm like, phew, okay. And Pompa would get on every week and talk about the power of fasting. And I was like, no, that's not me. I don't need to do that. And then I met Simon on day 2 of a water fast. And something clicked in my head that, okay, if this kid, no disrespect, but if this kid is doing a water fast, any excuse I have has now gone away, and I need to do a water fast. So I don't know if you guys have ever done this, but it drives my staff crazy. In order for me to hold myself accountable, I often have to announce that I'm going to do something before I do it, because otherwise the monkey mind will kick in and start to tell me why I can't do it. So I went to my resetter group that day when I met Simon Pompa on his second day of his water fast, and I'm like, hey, I'm going to start a water fast on Monday, and we're going to, anybody want to do a water fast with me? And all of a sudden, boom, we had like 10 women. So now I got 10 women are going to do this water fast with me. I better show up and do the water fast. And so we did this water fast, and it was like Big Brother. Everybody watched us. People watched us on my Facebook page. I went live every day, and I was like, it's day 2. This is how I feel. This sucks, whatever it was. And at the end of the 5 days, my resetter group had doubled. Everybody wanted in, and they wanted to do it again. So we started committing to 5 days every month doing some type of fast. And we've been doing that for a year and a half. I'll go here and then I'll kind of come back to this. And in the last year, we've grown, in just doing these water fasts, we've grown from maybe 800 people in the resetters. This morning we were at 16,000 something in the resetter group. And most people are there for me. This is my message is most people are there to practice fasting. So we have been doing that over and over and over again every month. And I'm going to go back this to kind of give you guys an idea, because maybe fasting isn't your thing. Maybe it's something else, and I'll show you some ideas. But basically what it looked like is I'd go to my business page. I'd be like, hey, you know what? I just read this scientific article this morning that, did you know if you fast for 24 hours that you actually start to improve your intestinal stem cells? If you want to know more, we're actually fasting in my resetter group. Just put resetter in the comment and I'll invite you in. So now, this is where the detail is really important. When people comment on your post, what Facebook does is Facebook says, this is a very popular post. People like this. And so they expose you to more people. So I make sure, and this is a massive tip, that every time I do a video, I have some kind of, hey, if you think this is helpful, just put helpful in the comments. I do this for you. I just want to know if this is working for you. Now, I go and read those, and I'll show you how I do that. But I basically get people to comment so that the algorithm of my video will go up. So I did that, and then and I'll explain this in a little bit. I would take that video, I would put it on YouTube, and for the last year or so, I didn't even look at YouTube. I just put it over there and left it over there and kind of let it do its thing. So I would do Facebook Live, I'd educate, call to action, come into my resetters, and then in my resetters, I got to know people. I built relationships in my resetters. And I left YouTube over there just to do whatever it needed to do. And that alone, that was like our first level of growth. At that point, I stopped doing corporate talks. We started getting, the first step is we started really filling our live talks. So where we would have to be like, hey, I'm going to do a talk on hormones, all of a sudden I would go to Facebook and I'd say, hey, you know what? I just read this really interesting article on, on how you need to eat, women need to eat more carbs right before their fast. And here's the really cool thing. And so I would give this information away, come into my resetter group, go into my resetter group, and then I would say, hey, you guys, I'm doing a live talk. If you live in my area, come up to one of my live talks. I'm doing a live talk on hormones. And we pretty much started filling our live talks just from those 3 things I did. And anybody can do that. I spent money on my Facebook ads in the beginning. You guys, Warren can tell you different. Maybe Warren has different ideas, but I didn't know what I was doing. So after a while, I finally stopped and was like, well, why would I throw $5 away if I don't know what I'm doing? So all of that happened. You can do it free. It doesn't cost any money. And the impact you can make is so huge. So a lot of this stuff was just stupid luck, maybe, because I didn't, that worked great. So if you decide those were your first 2 steps, then the only thing I would tell you is that you have to remember your group is golden. These are your peeps. And I don't care where they live. I want to build an online practice, so it's great for me where I don't care where they live. But I didn't just, once they came into my group, I really nurtured them. And I'm going to show you some of the ways that I have nurtured them. So that was how I started to add the YouTube piece in, and then I really want to break this down for you, because this is not, I tell you my story to inspire you. This was one of my biggest things when I decided to go out into video and do more live talks, is that I hate the look at me culture that social media does. Look at how awesome I am. Look at my beautiful family. Look at my amazing car. Like, look at me. It's like your highlight reel. And so I made a decision that when I was going to go out onto video, that you were going to see me in all my highs and lows. And that my hair, I don't do my hair before I go on. I'm not a big makeup wearer. I say stupid stuff all the time. Last night I was watching one of my YouTube videos, and I'm like, oh yeah, you pretty much repeated yourself there. That looked lame. But I just decided that I wasn't going to care. So I tell you this because I really want you guys to do it, not only for your practice, but I just have this vision that we can reach so many people. I get people in my fasting group. Let me back up. When I first started doing it, I got inbox messages where people asked me, why are you giving away so much free information? Like, why are you doing that? And I was like, again, I go back to Lanny, and I'm like, how could I not do that? I'm just because I have the knowledge, yes. Do I want you to pay me eventually for me to help you? Absolutely. But there's a whole bunch of people out there that are never going to pay the fees that it takes for me to work one-on-one with them, and they need the information too. So when I get people who tell me they've lost 30 pounds fasting and they're off their medication, I'm sure Pampa gets this too, I'm like, awesome. Awesome. The day I leave this planet, I'm gonna know I did my best to stop the Lannys from happening. So it became a vehicle for my frustration. It became a vehicle for educating people. And honestly, right now, thank you. Right now, the most irate about is that I can't go with the vaccine information to my Facebook page. I have so much I want to say, but I can't because I risk shutting this whole thing down. And every other topic, you better believe it, I am going and I'm educating to make a difference. So if we all do this, think of the impact. And I'll tell you some of the horrible things that people have said to me. I scream. I'm sorry, I do scream. But on YouTube, they've told me I scream. I used to wear glasses on video until everybody told me that the lights made my eyes look demonic. So I was like, okay, fine. I've had a ton of people that have criticized how I look, what I say, who am I? You're a chiropractor. How could you be saying that stuff? And then anybody watched Brene Brown's new documentary? Oh, you have to watch it. She talks about how when she did her TED Talk, it was on vulnerability. And she got up there, she did it. She came home and said to her husband, that was horrible. And I really hope nobody ever watches it. It was just that bad. And she woke up the next morning to see that all of a sudden, like 1,000 people watched it, 2,000 people, 3,000. I think it's at 20, 30 million now. And it just exploded. And she goes, and what happened is I started reading all the comments. And people were mean. And they will be. So the one thing I'm going to tell you is if you're going to jump into this area, which I encourage you to do, your mission needs to be bigger than any words that anybody could ever say to you. That's why on the days I struggle, I go back to Lanny and I say, okay, so ouch, that hurt. Yeah, my glasses, it reflected in my eyes. Yeah, my hair didn't look so great that day. But I don't freaking care because there's a Lanny out there sitting there watching it who decided to fast and now has a fasting lifestyle, and we have that person off course or not on a cancer course. They're on a new course of health because I was willing to get over myself. And Brene Brown says, if you're going to criticize me, you need to be in the arena with me. But don't if I'm in the arena and you're out watching me and you're criticizing me, your criticism means nothing to me. because you're not in the arena with me. So if Pampa criticized me, he's in the arena with me, that might hurt. But if some Joe at home doesn't like my glasses, doesn't like what I said, wants to criticize my credentials, I really don't care because I'm in the arena trying to change lives. And I think that's what I would really encourage you to step into this with that heart space. And I'm not trying to get patients. I'm not trying to make money. I'm trying to change lives. And guess what? In doing this, we have more people reaching out to us than we know what to do. Our virtual world just exploded. I'm still Jess and I are trying to figure out how to do everything that we're doing. And it's been incredible. So, and it has had the opposite effect. So I stand up here telling you this because I want you to do it. I want you to be a part of this experience because they may resonate with you better. They may like your glasses better. They might like the way that you look better. They might think that your tone of voice, like one of the people we follow and we watch a lot is Dr. Eric Berg. Anybody watch him? He's got like 2 million subscribers on YouTube. So I'm a big let's reverse engineer things. So I've been reverse engineering Pampa for some time. I continue to reverse engineer you. And I've been watching Eric Berg. Oh my gosh, he is so peaceful. He gets up there and he's got his list and he's like, okay guys, I would like to educate you today on da-da-da-da-da. And people love him. And my husband says to me, well, maybe you need to talk more like him. And I'm like, no, there's no way. Those of you that know me, that if I got up there and said, okay, well, today I would like, people would be like, who the hell are you? Like, I don't even know what to do with you. So my point in telling you this is that people are going to resonate with you differently than they'll resonate with me, which is why we need everybody out there doing this. Deal? Okay, so here are my 7 steps. So, and what I want to do is in the time that I have, I'm going to go through the 7 steps. I'm going to show you what worked for me, and then I have a worksheet on there that I want to walk you guys through. Okay? The first step, you have to know who you're talking to. So, I think I learned this with David and just being a part of the Platinum program. I was blessed to write a book called The Reset Factor, and the word reset seemed to resonate with people. So when I stood up and first started doing videos, I used the word reset a lot. Like, hey, if this excites you, in my resetter tribe, I'm teaching people how to reset their health. So people knew what that tribe was for, that you're there to reset your health. Now, when I came over to YouTube and YouTube started to grow, what I saw was that my following is 40 and 50-year-old women that are going either perimenopause, menopause, or they're postmenopause, and they want to do keto and fasting. And they want to know how that ties into their hormones. So the more I go online and I teach from that to that person, the bigger I've gotten. So you want to streamline. This is why Niles and Caitlin, I'm like, you guys, you got to do dental. Somebody's got to go in there and do dental. Find who your avatar is, and when you put that phone in front of you, you're not thinking, how do I look? You're not even, I can't stand to listen to myself sometimes too. Like when I watch video, I'm like, oh, that was bad. But I put it there, and I speak to my one avatar. I actually started speaking to my patients that would irritate me, that weren't listening to what I wanted to say. So I would have them in mind. I would tell them everything I wanted to say. And when they came back in and they were like, I'm not losing weight with fasting, I would say, oh, did you watch my most current video? I just did a video on that yesterday. You should go watch that. And then they would come back in and they'd be like, oh my God, that video was amazing. It's like it spoke directly to me. I'm not joking. I was like, yeah, because I was speaking directly to you. You just didn't know it. So all those irritating patients, and I love my people, but all those people that irritate you, go to educate them on your phone. Speak to them. And then when they come in, you go, hey, did you go to my Facebook page? I just did a video on that yesterday. Go to my YouTube page. I just did a video on that. So figure out who your avatar is. I think this is the hardest thing for those of us that are very talented in what we do, because we don't want to niche ourselves. This is what you do in this game, is you niche yourself. And then when they come in, your job in the office is to educate them on what they came in for. Everything else you do is tied to that. So if you're a chiropractor and you want to talk about posture, and they come and you're on Facebook talking about posture and all the ways to improve your posture, when they come in, that doesn't mean you have to stay in the chiropractic lane. You go, hey, did you know that your ligaments are supported by certain nutrients? And did you know that the supplements we use actually really help with all the corrective work we're doing? We actually, when we adjust you, if you're taking Jot, Chiro, and Arta, together, or you're doing muscle rejuvenation together, and you're mixing that with a keto and fasting lifestyle, now you're really making a massive impact on your spine. So I use the thing that brought them in, and then I tie everything I do to it. My very first question with every patient when I meet them face to face is, if they say, oh, I found you on YouTube, I say, what was it about, which video did you like? How did you resonate with that? Or if they're like, oh, I'm a resetter, we get a lot of resetters. Okay, what is it about the group that you're really connecting to? Because I know that is their mindset coming into me, and now I tie everything to it. Make sense? So know who your avatar is. I was blessed to have an incredible mentor, Dr. Charlie Majors, who was a Maximized Living doctor, and he used to say to me, Mindy, if you just figure out how to solve people's problem, you will never have a new patient problem again. Figure out the problems that people have and solve them. So my recent expansion and why my YouTube is doing so well is that I identified that people, that women specifically need to know how to do fasting differently. So I'm solving that problem for them on my YouTube channel. And each time I solve that problem, the subscribers go up. So figure out who you're talking to, what your problem you're going to solve for them, so that when you speak to them from your phone, you're speaking to them. And you're giving specifics. The other thing I do is I'll say, you need to do these 3 things. So let's use hormones and fasting. Here's what I recommend. So, here's some interesting articles. I like to bring science in, so I'll hold the article up and I'll say, hey, this article, check this out. I'm going to put the link in here so you can go see it. But this is what they're saying about fasting around your menstrual cycle. And then I come over here and go, you can join my resetter group, and we're fasting in there, and you'll see there's other women that are fasting in there. And then, if you're not a resetter, here's 3 things I would tell you to do right now. Boom, 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 boom. And if that is, if you struggle with that, reach out. I'm here to help. That's my close. Reach out. I'm here to help. And you can find me easily. People will reach out. Once I've given them the 3 things that they can no longer apply themselves, they come find me and they want an appointment. So you want to solve a problem for them. You want to know where they hang out. So again, my avatar is women. Women are on Facebook a lot. My Instagram is primarily women as well. The funny thing is that my YouTube channel really took off, and I'm 50-50 over there. 50% men, 50% women. And no offense to the men, but I'm not really sure what to do with them over there. I'm like, I probably should just start sending them to you, Pampa, because I'm like, you're not my avatar. So I finally had to do a video on fasting and testosterone to speak to them, because I'm like, I was doing all these videos on perimenopause and menopause and fasting. So, but know where your platforms are. If women are your platform, they're on Facebook. And Instagram, I think, as well. And I do believe that I'm pretty consistent with what you would see on YouTube. But Warren, again, may know different. But there's a lot more men on YouTube. Be clear with your message when you get up there. I've made that mistake, too, where I ramble. And I'll just get up there and be like, oh, and people will tell me, I don't know where you're going with this video. You didn't really give us good information. So people will tell me. But I try to get up there, and you want to say, okay, here are 3 things that most women don't know about fasting. So, and you just go boom, boom, boom. If you want to fast more, join me in my resetter group. Done. And you're off. 5 minutes later, you're off. And people are like, thank you for giving that information. But if you get up there and you're like, hey, you guys, the weather's been really kind of funky, like, totally get that, many of you are blue, and, there's so many reasons why your mind could be blue. I mean, there's the microbiome, and, there could be heavy metals, and so, but, today let's talk about fasting. Like, if you ramble like that, I have found that you lose them, and we'll watch our statistics of how long people watch our videos. The more I get up there and say, here's the problem, I'm speaking to you, here's your solution, here's where you can find more of me. That's the strategy that I've applied. And then I always do it from a service point of view. I just want to help. And I tell people that. I just want to help. In the beginning, I would say, to get over my self-consciousness, I would say, and I talk to them like a friend. I'd say, you guys, I do this for you. I'm just doing this video for you. So please reach out. If this information is helpful, let me know, right? And you got to tell them what to do. Write helpful in the comments. If you're liking how these videos, let me know other topics you want to know about. So I really involve them in the process, and that has worked tremendously. Yeah. Oh, really? Oh, Warren, they can't hear you.
Yeah, just everything's algorithm.
Right.
Everything's algorithm with this. So a mistake that we made, why is Mindy beating us out? Well, Mindy's beating us out because she actually responds quickly, and we started doing that, and that really has helped since Dr. Pompa and the team have really responded. So it's an algorithm, likes versus comments. So if you shoot a video and you don't make them comment by what you're doing through your language and want them to comment, because sometimes we'll say, well, I don't really want to do that, or you want to excuse, these people really aren't worth it. It's all about your attitude.
Yep.
So if you actually want to go out and change the world, you have to connect with your customer.
Yep. Either
you have to do it or your team, someone who can represent you, which I'm sure your team does.
Yep.
But you have to have a full-time person really interacting, and you have to interact quickly, because the more comments, the faster you respond, shows that you actually care and you want to drive their mission forward. But if you're just randomly doing stuff, throwing up a video, and it's tough. That's why you should start with one platform.
Right.
We're spread thin over 30 with 17 different Facebook fan groups and all this stuff. So that is key. Comment, get them to comment, get them to like, comment, and share. But that's why people do that, because it's all algorithm driven.
Yeah. Awesome. And what I do is I do more tell them what to say. If that's helpful, put helpful. If you would like the resetters, put resetters, so that I keep the comments going, so the algorithm keeps going. That has been, and then I'll tell you about how my team is. So the first step, who are you talking to? Who's your audience? Who are you going after? Where do they hang out? The second thing is, how do you like to educate? So I thought I used to like to write, but then I found that was really time consuming. So to me, the video is so great, because I literally can just pick it up and do it, and it's so quick. So for me, I love video. Some people love podcasts. Some people like live events. So if video is not your thing, you could, and I think Warren will touch on this, you can talk a little bit, you could do it on a blog post. You could do it through to your email list. We've totally abandoned our email list, which is not good. We have to get back to it. But it keeps growing, and I'm like, we haven't had time to write because I can do video so much quicker. So figure out what your platform is. I've recently discovered that I really like making little infographics to go on Instagram. And I have a team around me that will help me, but in the mornings I wake up, I think of one. I've been taking notes. Both Jack and Srika, you guys gave me great ideas on one-liners yesterday. I just kept writing down one-liners, and I'm like, that's going on an Instagram post. And I'll make an Instagram post, I'll pour my heart into the post, I'll give them good information, and then I'll share it on both Instagram and Facebook. And that takes me 20 minutes in the morning to do. And I've just built it into my morning time. So, and I love doing it. So it's relaxing, I like doing it. So maybe that's your thing. You have to decide. Okay, the third step is when you create all this buzz, you have to figure out where you're going to drive them. And I'm going to tell you, this has been the hardest piece for us, because Facebook is really the best place to drive them. And yet we have all the considerations that you guys have about Facebook. And I don't like that Facebook owns my people. So our biggest group is the Resetters. It's on Facebook. I just launched a woman's reset that I did a 15-day protocol with women, and we decided to take it off of Facebook, to not create a group, and we put it in a membership site. So we're now learning how to build out membership sites. So come talk to me in 6 months because we're working out the kinks of that. But for now, Facebook is really the best place that you can drive people to. But this is the problem. This is where it doesn't work for people. They come over here, they're like, well, Mindy said to bring up a research study and to educate them. And you do that with no call to action. And then you sit back and you're like, well, that doesn't work. It didn't work. It must work for her because she's a loudmouth, like whatever. She's got something. I'm just tenacious. That's the only thing I have. And so you won't think it works. So you got to come over here, do the video, and then do a call to action. Drive them into your group. That is key. And then I'll show you what we do once you're in the group, but drive them somewhere other than to your office. Because in this group, they see that I'm a caring, loving practitioner that wants to help them. The trust gets built in the group. So we were laughing yesterday. My group has gotten so big that I don't actually answer that anymore. My husband is in there answering everybody. And somebody posted, when is Dr. Mindy going to give some medical advice in here? And I happened to see the post. It was in between patients. I looked at it and I was like, oh man, do I have some words for you? But in the meantime, everybody in my 16,000 person group, you and I were talking about that, was like, she gives you so much free advice. Have you been to her YouTube? Like, she's not going to know your specific case. Blah, blah. I mean, my tribe just came to bat for me. It was so awesome, and then I didn't have to do anything. I was like, thank you. So you need to, those are your people. Now, they're not, are out of 16,000, how many of them are paying me? Small fraction. But we stopped marketing, we stopped doing live events, we don't do corporate talks, we're having a whole lot of fun, and everybody's getting well, and we're winning, and they're winning. So the group is magical. So that's why I like Facebook groups. Okay. How do you build once you got that group, what do you do? So there's a couple of things. I stole from Dr. Pompa. Again, I have to give so much of this credit to you, Pompa, because he started doing fasting groups. I started doing fasting groups. So fasting's hot right now. It continues to be hot. Fast with people. People want to fast, but they don't really know how to fast. So I put all of my stuff on here. Go find me, stalk me, reverse engineer me. Anything I'm doing, take it, do it. I don't care. There's too many sick people and not enough practitioners doing this. So I really just take it and go with it. Reach out to me. I really want to make sure that we as a community, especially you guys here at Systemic, we need to get this out to people. So, so we do 5-day challenges. This was actually a funny story. Last summer, I was on vacation. It's kind of a new vacation I'm not really good at. And I was in Lake Tahoe with my family, and about 4 or 5 days into the vacation, I started to get a little anxiety. I was like, okay, I wonder what's going on with the practice, where the new people are. And I was feeling like I couldn't relax. And I had brought on vacation with me the obesity code. Because, do people bring fiction on vacation? Do you guys bring fiction on vacation? I don't. So I had the obesity code with me, and I was started reading it, and I was like, this is good. Took a picture of it, put it in my resetter group, and I said, who wants to do a book study on this? And, as I'm sitting on the porch with my family in the mountains, drinking a cup of coffee, I looked down at my phone, boom, 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 boom. Hundreds of people now are like, I do, let's do this. And so when I came back, I created a book study of the obesity code. And it was awesome. It grew the resetter group. People got really excited about it. So you could do book studies. I do think if you don't have a group, I like that we've given our resetters an identity. So it's really easy for me on video to say, hey, if you want to be a resetter, come join us. In my practice, people are before they get adjusted, we have a wobble cushion they wobble on. And they're like, oh, hey, you're Kim, you're a resetter, right? And then they're they own it like an identity. We've been trying to think if we should get hats or something to because it means something to be a resetter now. and they identify with it. So if you're new to a group, I really encourage you to give them some kind of label that they can hook onto, and that's easy for you to say out of your mouth. So that has worked really well for us. But you want to do it regularly. So, in the beginning I did fasts, and then I did book study, and then I did, we've tried some creative things, like everybody go read your nutrition labels and report back. I had a really cool interview for the Women's Summit that many of us are blessed to be a part of through HCF, and I interviewed Dr. Terry Walls. Oh my God, I was like starstruck. I was like, I'm not worthy. But anyways, she told me that she recommends to all of her patients that they try to get over 200 different variety of plants. So I was like, this is amazing. So I went to my resetters and was like, hey, I did a live. I just interviewed Dr. Terry Walls. Listen to what she said. We should be getting over 200 different types of plants in our diet at all the time. And I want to do a challenge where we all go and try to get different plants. And let's make a list, and let's come together on all the different types of plants we can get in our life. So that's a challenge I'm thinking about doing. So, but that would be an example if you don't want to do fasting. Okay, who's going to moderate this for you? So the other question I get all the time is like, this must be a lot of work. So yes, it's a lot of work. It's a labor of love. And in the beginning, I set parameters. So morning time is when I would do a post. I would schedule, and I'll talk about this in a minute, I would schedule when I would do my Facebook Lives. And at night, I would answer questions. So I did that for a very long time in my social media until my media got really big. And to Warren's point, you really have to answer. If you don't engage with these people, they're going bye-bye. So you want to have somebody answer them. So what generation of people do you think are the best at social media? Millennials. So when my YouTube went crazy this December, I got all these comments coming in. Some of them were really rude, and I was like, oh, this is hard. I don't know if I can't answer these people. I can't even read it. And so my niece, who's 22 years old, was looking for a job. She lives in Oregon. She doesn't even live near us. So we hired her. Turns out she's really good at answering questions. So now she answers all of my YouTube questions. My husband, our first daughter, we have two children. Our daughter went off to college this year, and he was the one that was primarily home with the kids. And so he had some free time, and we launched a membership site this year. We call it the Reset Academy, and it needed a lot of fostering and attention, and the resetters needed some more attention. So he said, I'll take over the resetters. So he answers everybody in the resetters. So now I have a team of people, and what they do, when you get to this point, again, come talk to me. They Vox me every day. Cardinal is my niece. She'll Vox me, and she'll say, okay, here's your YouTube update for the day. Your new video is doing really well. People are confused about this, and people really like that you said this. So now I've got feedback, and I know what I need to do another video on. I know that maybe I talked a little too long. It gives me, so I'm constantly reading my community so that the next video can be more in alignment with what they want to hear. Now, you can't please everybody, but it really helped me get out of the, like every day of that. Yeah.
What do you do with the trolls? Do you ban them or delete them?
Yeah, like if I'm doing a YouTube Live and you write MILF with a question mark, yeah, my husband will ban you, which happened just 2 weeks ago. So yes, we ban them. In the Resetter tribe, we're really careful because those are our peeps. And if anybody sells other things, we either ask them nicely or we get them out. Yeah, for sure. You guys, especially in your tribe. On YouTube, it's a little different, but we try to be a little more politically correct over there. On Resetters, those are my people. You don't play by my rules, you're out. So, yeah, good question. But you might want to have somebody do it for you, but you definitely, to Warren's point, you need to do it for sure. Okay, step 6, you always need to have a call to action. So, what did I do yesterday? I'm so excited about the Catabo shake, about the extracellular ketones, and I'm like sitting there like, ooh, how am I going to talk about this to my resetters? And I'm like, well, let me grab Shane, and let me have him go to my resetters, and let's talk from the horse's mouth on why he created this. And so we did, and then I said, hey, you guys, because I've done this before where I say something and then we don't have the bandwidth to follow up with either the product being sent out or whatever I said. I'm learning to be better with that. But so I asked, right? I think I asked you, Julie, like, when are we going to get this product? So I don't go up there and be like, hey, this product's awesome. Just put Catabo Shake in the comments. And now for 3 weeks, Jessica's getting emails of like, where's the Catabo Shake? Where's the Catabo Shake? So what I did is I said, this will be out soon. So go ahead, and if you want to know more about it, I'll make sure you get some information on it. So just put, I forget what I said. It was like put keto products in your comment section, and when we're ready to get you that information, we'll send it to you. So I think I checked this morning, there was like 40 comments in there off of one post I did last night that took me 5 minutes. So now my team will come in behind, and when we're ready to get that product to them, we'll get that product to them. So I do a lot of props. I think we sell the heck out of Bind because we have so many people that are fasting. And I'm like, if you have a bad symptom, you need this. You need this product. Try Bind. This is why Bind is so great. And I hold the product up. This is what you need. And I mean, we've had like, I think we had like 800-900 new people buying from us in the last couple of months and buying Systemics products from just going and educating and then creating a call to action. So personally, I think it's an incredible way to sell product because people are really willing to buy a $30 product before they're willing to step into your office and have a one-on-one consultation. And I think we could do better at that. Jessica's getting married on the 18th in Italy. So I know, she loves having a ton of attention on her. So we're going to go as a family. We already have, you guys can watch me on social media. We already have the emails lined up. I'm going to show what I'm taking to Italy. I'm going to do a video. My Bind will be there, and I'm going to show what I'm taking, and then my team will come in behind with links of everything that I'm taking so that if people want to follow, do what I do when I travel, they can go and purchase it. But it's an incredible way to sell supplements. Incredible. And I just go, this is what I'm doing. You might want to do it too. Yeah.
Hold on. If you're asking questions, make sure. Can we?
Oh, at the end.
Hold the
Okay.
actions to
Okay.
the end.
I'm
sorry.
almost done.
Write down the question that you have really quick in your notebook, and then we'll get them at the very end. Okay.
And then I have done the diet variation. To me, I know that's the subject of this seminar, and it's the best one for driving people into your practice because when people get excited about keto, they get excited about fasting, and then they get stuck. You introduce diet variation, what Pampa showed, the fire analogy. I've done a video. I actually went outside to my fire pit that we have in our backyard, and I physically showed what would happen with the wood, because people like to see that. And so, and then I just say, I know diet variation is confusing. This is why I work with clients one-on-one to help them customize that. So if you are confused by this subject, just reach out to us. I want to make sure that you're getting clarity with that. That's my close. And then I go on and I teach again. So diet variation is a really powerful concept because people are a little confused. They don't know how to apply it to them. I've done 511. I've done videos like, hey, this is the diet variation you should do, and I introduce 511. And then I say, and for some of you, you're going to actually need to customize that. And that's what I do. I work one-on-one with clients customizing it. I leave it at that. And that has produced so many new patient appointments for us. So take some of these topics are really good. The last step that I will tell you is that consistency is the name of the game. You have to keep doing this over and over and over again, even when people are not listening, when you don't think people are listening. David told me to get off my personal page and to get onto Dr. Mindy Pelz' page because it was more professional. At the time, I had like 4,000 people on my personal page, and I had 200 on my business page when he told me that. And I don't know if Tammy, you were probably on that call. I was like a petulant child. I was like, no, I don't want to do that, David. And he's like, Mindy, do that. And so I did. And I just started doing videos from my my business page, and we're now, and again, I haven't paid any money to it. We're now at 10,000 over there, and it's really driving a lot of our traffic because I can put them into the resetter group. So I've put it if you looked at my schedule, it'll show me when I'm doing my Facebook Lives. I have all my videos built into my schedule when I'm actually going to do them. So I don't ever take my eye off the game. I'm always doing them. Sometimes I hit it out of the park. Sometimes they suck. That's just the name of the game when you start doing a lot. I find if you're prepared, if you bring current studies, you can bring testimonials on. But if you have a vision of exactly what you're going to say, you're going to improve it over and over again, it's easier for the listener to hear than if you're rambling. So that would be the one thing. I'd better to do it short than to do a long ramble. Better to be specific. Bring research because we all know the research. Bring it. You could do so much Srika in your kitchen. And in fact, I was like taking notes because I'm like, I'm going to start doing it in my kitchen. And people are going to love that when I show them my fermented bread. There's so much. You can get so creative with this. But you just have to do it on a regular basis. A good example of where my funnel really worked for me is I've been doing Facebook Lives for only 3 years now, like not very long. And I put them on YouTube, and then I put them into my resetter group, and we do things like this free stem cells. This is what I did for a fast training week. I'm like, hey, you want some free stem cells? Join my resetter tribe. This was an infographic I made at 5 in the morning because it was relaxing to make. And I put it out. We got everybody, a bunch of people in there. And then, of course, we've grown our group. And then in, was it April? We usually do a live women's event every May. And I looked at my team and I just said, I don't have the bandwidth. I don't think I can put on a live event. How about we try an online something? Let's take 50 women. We kept it short. Let's take 50 women through my 15-day reset that I created. Let's charge them $197, and we'll do a couple Zoom calls. I'll do some videos, and we'll put them together. So I did, hey, join my stem cell group. Let's fast. At the end of the fast, I said, hey, if you want more of this, I'm actually going to take 50 women through a women's reset. Super excited about it. Just put women's reset in the comments, and we'll make sure you get information on it. My team went in, boom, sent a landing page. Within 48 hours, we sold out. So that's an example of my funnel, and I paid zero money for advertising. So that is how I do it. The last thing, and then I'll show you the worksheet you guys can do for yourself, and I'll open up for questions. This is literally a progress over perfection game. This is not be perfect. If you are struggling to be perfect, you don't do this. You can't be. In the beginning, I would watch every single one of my videos, and I would analyze myself. And I decided early on I was going to be kind to myself. I wasn't going to start criticizing myself for every little thing that I did wrong. But I wanted to know how it came across. I asked friends, I asked patients, give me feedback. So I want people to tell me, how did that sound? Was it interesting? So I really open it up for information. I now do it on my videos. I say, if is this making sense to you guys? I talk to them like they're right there in front of me. Is this making sense to you guys? Because if it's not, let me know where you're confused, because I'll do another video on where you're confused. So people literally feel like they're a part of my life. And nothing's ever perfect. It's just progress over perfection. Be empowering. I think if you stand up there and you're like, well, so I'm really, really fan of herbs, and I think that there's some good herbs you could take to get your energy up. People don't want to hear that. So that's why I scream, and that's why I move my hands, and that's why I give products. And I love when people ask me about supplements. I'm like, ask your supplement company if they're testing for heavy metals, because let me tell you what Systemic Formulas is doing. And then, I get up there with passion and enthusiasm. I may not always be accurate, but people want to watch that. I think you've heard the light yourself on fire, because people just want to come and watch you burn. And that's what I do. I just light myself on fire, and then people are like, whoa. For a long time, and we're still get this a little bit, when I sit down with a patient for the first time, either in office or virtual, what I have a lot of people do is, it's kind of fun. I'm sure Pampa gets this now, and some of you guys that are public. You walk in and they're like, and I'm like, are you a resetter? Like, and then I usually get a lot, because again, I'm 40 and 50-year-old women. I get a lot of them that are like, I love your energy. I just want your energy. Can you just show me how to have your energy? So yeah, some days I'm like low in energy, but I try, if I have it on my schedule to do it, what do I need to do to pump my energy up so that when I go and I do a video, that it's well received. So, and I think the last thing I'll say, and then I'll show you the worksheet and I'll open it up for questions. Care about this process as much, and your people, as much as if they were paying you $15,000 for your attention. I care about these people so much. The resetters. When you talked about my resetters the other night, I was like, oh, my resetters. My resetters, they're my peeps. They go to bat for me. They follow what I do. I love these people. And when they tell me they've lost all this weight and gotten off all this medication, and I've never seen their face, and they've never spent a dime with me at all, I don't care. I don't care. I go to bed at night with my eyes closed, and every once in a while I have a conversation with Lanny, and I just go, we're doing it. We're changing it. We're making a difference, Lanny. And if you were here, you'd be on those videos next to me. And that's the passion you need to have when you bring this to people. And if you do that, we live in this crazy age where you will magnetize people to you, and you will have more patients than you know what to do with. And I honestly, one of the reasons I love coming to you guys this is how we're going to change the world. This is how we're going to do it. This is how we're going to change the paradigm of healthcare. This is how we start showing people why systemic formula supplements are so amazing, is when we all create a following and we show our heart. Jack yesterday with his love and kindness, I was like, yes, let's just all show up like that. And then people are just going to be magnetized to what we're trying to do. So I did create in your notes, I created the 7 steps for you. What I would encourage you to do is to walk through the 7 steps. I think many of you are going to get stuck at step 1. Because I get boxes all the time from the Platinum Docs, I don't know what my avatar is. So pick one. Pick whatever lights you up. What's your ideal patient? Who's your ideal patient? Talk to them. That's who you want to go after. And then I put through the different steps. What I would encourage you to do is do it really quick. Don't overthink it. I watch people overthink this whole process, and you'll get stuck. But if you take those 7 steps and you sit down and you're like, who's my avatar? Where are they hanging out? Do I like video? Do I like blog? Maybe I want to start a podcast. Just, it's that way you can tap into the subconscious and just get that real quick answer and put it down and then start working the principles. And you can find me. Are we missing a step? Oh, the last step is set a schedule. So put it into your calendar. So with the time I have left, can I open it up for questions? Is that helpful? Anybody? Okay, great. Yeah, okay. And here's the other thing I'll tell you. Come find me. Let me know. I know a lot of faces. I know some names. Let me know who you are. Let me know what you're doing. And what I will tell you is that if you do something that I find is helpful for my resetters, I'm going to show it to my resetters. So Caitlin's, yesterday we did a Facebook Live, and I was like, okay, we have to talk about the mouth, because I never talk about the mouth in my resetters. We have to announce your dental detox. Well, she's now got 80 or 90 videos she's going to do. That's her lane. I'm going to share her videos in with my resetters, and this is how we can create this real collaborative experience. We were not meant to stay in our offices like this and be like, what are you doing? I don't know what you're doing. We're meant to be like, the freaking world is suffering. And you have an expertise, and you just did an amazing video, and I want my peeps to see that. So find me. Let me know what you're talking about. If I feel like it's useful, I'll share it into my community, and then we can all just blend together and change the world. So.
Amazing, thank you. What is your best successful length of time for your videos, Facebook versus YouTube?
So,
People's attention span, you know?
yeah, I think it's different. We've decided on YouTube it's about 10 minutes or under. Definitely no longer than 15. When you do a Facebook Live, and Pampa will see this a lot, if you're trying to create some engagement in the live, that's the only time you want to kind of have a conversation, and the longer you stay on, the more people jump on. So Pampa does this a lot when he does his fast trainings, where he starts teaching and then people jump on. And so, but if I'm just purely educational, I like to keep them between 5 and 10 minutes. So the live ones sometimes go off the rails, but that's my
Over
plan.
here.
Mindy, you were talking about how you sell supplements, and
Yeah.
I'm just curious, logistically, how do you deliver on that? Are you pulling them off of your shelf after you've purchased
We
them?
started there, yeah.
Okay, and
We started there. I don't know if, am I allowed to say we use Rev Health. That's one of the things that we've done. But you need to know that I'm 99.9% systemic supplements. I have such a passion for these supplements. So we are getting so big that it's hard to have a full staff to do that.
so there's companies out there, you're doing drop shipping.
Drop ship.
with
There
that.
we go.
Yeah, okay.
Do you
thank
guys drop ship? Okay. That's actually a question for Jessica because I don't know.
Yep.
And who does?
Systemic.
Systemic. Okay, so there you go. There's resources.
So one thing I'm wondering about is, I mean, you're talking about some pretty significant things.
Yep.
And so how do you handle liability concerns?
Yeah, so if they ask me anything about medication, I say that's not my department. You should go talk to the doctor that put you on the medication. We stay in the lane of keto and fasting, so we kind of skate around we use comments like, so this is what we have found successful in our clinic with our patients. And then sometimes we really have to be like, I just learned this from Dr. Carrie Jones. If anybody does, if you want to watch someone do Instagram really well, Carrie Jones on Instagram, she is the medical director of the Dutch test. And she'll say, I am a doctor and I'm not your doctor. So I can't ask that question. We have done things like, our new patient intake is a 41-page intake, so it's really difficult to answer because I don't know your whole complete health history. So we skate around it, and that has also created more people coming our way. So with fasting, and Pampa and Warren might be able to explain this, when I start a fast training week, I say you need a Keto Mojo, you need to be able to do your blood sugar. If you don't, then you have to know that this is your game. We're not giving you any advice. So we often will say, what are your numbers? I give people parameters on their numbers. If your blood sugar gets below 40, you need to break the fast. If your ketones get above 7, you need to break the fast. Now, Pampa will tell you, he works with a lot of people that have numbers that are much at opposite ends of that, and they do just great. But in a public forum, I'm really cautious about how I do that. So, yeah. Other
Okay,
questions?
last question right here.
Hey, Mindy,
Hi.
thanks. So on comments,
Yeah.
when people say amen, do you actually comment back, or is a thumbs up to their comment okay?
Yeah, it's a great question, because if you just like a comment, remember, if you like a comment, it doesn't help the algorithm. But if you put an emoji or another statement in there, it will keep the algorithm driving that. So I often try to put an emoji or a thank you or something like that. But now my team does it. So I try to not let a comment, we have a bunch of comments from Shane's live that we did yesterday, and I'm like, I wish my girl would get on there and start commenting and do something, but it's okay. It'll happen when she comes back to looking at that platform. So, cool.
All right, so if you have any other questions, we're going to take a break for a minute so you can tackle Mindy at that moment so she can answer that question for you.
Yay!
And
you
let's give her a
reach
big,
out.
huge
I
round of
hope
applause.
this helps. Go change the world. Yay. Yeah.